Hello guys, welcome to this new week. Today we're gonna start with the unit number 11 and as you can see it is called student. Let's see. The first exercise is a vocabulary reading. Here we have work with a partner and complete the tasks. Okay, so here we have these three tasks. The first one is that you're gonna write a list of qualities that make a good teacher. Okay, so in pairs with your partner, you're gonna choose what qualities make a teacher a good teacher. Okay, you can say things like that the teacher is always on time, that he has a good attitude, that he knows what he's saying, or any other qualities that you think make a good teacher. And in pairs, you're gonna compare your list and you're gonna choose which are the three most important qualities. And when you finish, you're gonna do the same, but now talking about a good student instead of a good teacher. All right? So do it, and when you finish, we'll continue. Very good, guys. Let's continue with the exercise number 2. Here we have match the two halves of these expressions to make some questions about education. All right, so here we have the beginning of some questions and here we have the endings. So what you have to do is to match the beginnings with the endings. Like in the letter A, it says, how easy is it to get a, what do you think is the answer? A bank loan to pay your college fees. Very good. So continue with the rest of them, and when you finish, we're gonna check them. All right, let's take a look. In the letter B, we have you ever taken a class in a foreign language? All right, well, we know that when you are talking about classes, you take the class. This is the correct way to say it. You take an English class, you take a math class, so take class. Then, let's see, what qualifications do you need if you want to go on to higher education? Very good. When you move from high school to university, for example, we say that you go on to higher education. Then, what kinds of things do you think it is best to learn? By heart. Remember, to learn by heart is the same as saying memorize. They're synonyms. Memorize something and learn something by heart is the same. Very good. Then the letter E. What time of a day do you find it hardest to pay attention in class? Very good. Well, this is a very basic phrase that we use at classrooms. To pay attention in class is when you just focus on what the teacher is saying. Then, how do you apply to college? When you are moving on from high school to college, you must apply to it. You must make an application so that you can see if you get to the college or not. Then, in which school subject do you always use to get low grades? Very good. To get low grades will be the opposite of get good grades. It's the same as saying get bad grades. Nice. Then, when was the last time you failed a class? When you don't approve a class, you failed it. Okay, that is to fail the class. The opposite of approve it. All right? Very good. Then the next exercise says, think about the questions. Then ask your partner and compare your answers. All right, so first, think about these questions and what will be your answers personally. And then you're gonna call your classmates and you're gonna ask them. And when you finish, we'll continue. You finish? Very good. Let's move on. Now, in the exercise number 3, we have read the article in the page 115, in which the author reflects on being a student and teachers who made a mark. And then you're gonna answer these questions in your notebook, all right? So here we have this lecture. Please take your time to read it. And when you finish, answer these questions and then we'll move on. All right, if you're done, here we have one question that you will discuss with your classmates. How do you think your teachers will describe you? All right, do it, and when you finish, we'll continue. Great job. Now, the next exercise is read the article again and underline the expressions involved from exercise 2 that are used. Which expressions are not used in the article? So we're gonna take a look again to the lecture and we're gonna look for the bold words that we saw on the previous exercise. For example, over here in the line number 3 we have I didn't get bad grades. Remember that we saw get low grades? Well, this is the same. So you can underline this. So underline all the phrases from the vocabulary that you can see here in the lecture and then write the phrases that you didn't find. Okay, the next phrase that is in the lecture is in the next line. I never failed a class. Okay, remember that we saw failed a class is when you don't approve it. Okay, then in the line number 12 we have take an advanced placement English class. In this case we are taking a class. Remember that the classes we take them. Take an English class, take a math class, take a calculus class. All right. And then we have one more that is in the line number 51. More importantly, pay attention to the people who are betting on you. Okay, pay attention, to be focused on something, to be aware. All right, well, so these are the ones that we found in the lecture. Now, continuing with the next exercise we have here. Find expressions in the article which mean the same as the underlined structures here. Complete the sentences. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna take a look again to the lecture, but you're gonna look for these sentences. And here they are using in the lecture different words. You have to see which words they are using. For example, in the first one, it is inevitable that he will make an impact. So in the lecture they didn't use inevitable that he will make an impact. If you take a look to the line number 18, you will be able to see that they use the word he is bound to. Okay? He is bound to make an impact. What is to be bound to? It is the same as when something is inevitable, right? So like this, look for these other two phrases and identify the words that they are actually using. All right, let's take a look to the answers. In the next sentence we have, it is improbable that he will go anywhere. So the actually phrase that they use, we can find it in the line number 26. Jay is unlikely to go anywhere. It is improbable, is unlikely. Okay? And finally, it is not expected that he will have trouble. This sentence, we could find it at the beginning of the lecture, and it is the same actually. We don't expect Jay to have trouble. It is not expected that he will have trouble. Alright? Very good, guys. Now, in the exercise number 5, we have complete these predictions about education in the USA, using the words in parentheses. Do you think these things will happen in your country? When? Okay, so the first thing that you must do is complete these sentences with the words that we found in the lecture that are similar to this. Okay, so in the letter B we have more 18 years old take a break between high school and college. And we have likely. If you remember how they use likely in the lecture, you will know that the correct answer is are likely to. Alright? So like this, complete the sentences and we'll continue in a moment. Very good. I'm going to show you the answers. Well done. As you can see, here we're saying are likely to. When you say likely, remember that this is the same as probable. Unlikely will be not probable. And when you say this, you use the verb be before this. Is likely to take a break. It is highly likely that classroom teachers will ever be replaced by computer. In the letter D, standards of spelling and grammar are likely to get worse due to new technologies. And when you say bound, you also use the verb be at the beginning. Students are bound to rely more on websites than on books to do their homeworks. Remember that to be bound to is that it is inevitable, alright? Well done, guys. Now, the last exercise of this topic, they tell us, work with a partner. Write down 3 predictions about the future of education in your country. Find out if other students agree. So you're gonna discuss with your classmates 3 predictions about education here in Mexico. If you think that we're gonna progress in a big or in a small way, but what are gonna be the changes that are gonna happen in our country. So discuss that, and when you finish, we'll continue. Very good, guys. Let's move on now to the next topic, which is a pronunciation topic. In the first exercise, we have listen and repeat these common abbreviations. Check the ones that you pronounce as words, acronyms, and underline the stress letter for the ones you pronounce as individual letters. All right? So in English and in Spanish, some abbreviations we pronounce them as words, like the number 1, AIDS. We don't say the letter AIDS, we just say AIDS. And there are other words that we pronounce the letters, like the number 2, BS. So the one that we pronounce the complete word, please write a check mark, like this one. And the ones that are pronounced as individual letters, please underline the stress letter. So I'm gonna play the audio and do the exercise.
Unit 11, Track 2.37. 1,
AIDS,
2,
BS,
3,
FAQ,
4,
MBA,
5,
NATO,
6,
OPEC,
7,
PhD,
8,
PIN,
9,
UNICEF,
10.
IRS.
All right, now please check the abbreviations that are pronounced as words and underline the stress letter of the abbreviations that are pronounced as individual letters. Okay, let's see. Which are the abbreviations that are pronounced as words? We know that AIDS, also NATO, then OPEC, also PIN, this is the same in Spanish, and UNICEF. Excellent. So the rest of the abbreviations are pronounced as individual letters, like BS. In this case, BS, the letter B is the stress letter. Then in FAQ, the letter A. In MBA, letter A also. Then in PhD, the letter D is the one that is stressed. And finally, IRS, the letter S. Very good. Now, you're gonna work with your classmates and you're gonna see how many of these abbreviations do you know. Do you know what the letter stands for? Because maybe you know that, for example, PhD, you know what this is, but you don't know what the letter stands for. Or UNICEF, that is a global company that we all know, but maybe you don't know what the letter stands for. Okay, so discuss that with your classmates, and then they ask us which abbreviation are to do with education. Okay, so you have to research them in order to answer this question. All right, if you finish, I'm gonna play an audio so that you can check your ideas. So please pay attention to the audio.
Track 2.38. 1,
Acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
2,
Bachelor of Science.
3,
Frequently asked questions.
4,
Master of Business Administration.
5,
North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
6,
Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries.
7,
Doctor of Philosophy.
8,
Personal Identification Number.
9,
United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund.
10,
Internal Revenue Service.
Alright? Now that you have listened to the audio, they ask us what are the equivalence abbreviations in your language. So in your notebook, please write these abbreviations, but the way you will say them in Spanish. Alright, if you finish, let's continue with the last exercise of today, that is a speaking exercise. And here we have anecdote. It says, you are going to tell your partner about your favorite or least favorite teacher at school. So first you have to think about your teacher, if it's your favorite or your least favorite. You're gonna ask yourself these questions, you're gonna think about what to say and how to say it, and finally you're gonna call your classmates and tell them about the teacher. Alright? So do it, guys, and when you finish, it is gonna be it for today's class. Take care and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.